your former team, and so close and so soon after a leaving. And for me, it's about making sure he starts the game really well.
Away we go then at the Emirates for Arsenal versus Crystal Palace, and it's knocked back to Raya, who plants it long towards the edge of the penalty area, and Trossard is trying to get in behind, but Richards wins a header and cleared away by Munoz down the line, and Calafiori back in the team picks it up for Arsenal and knocks it back to Gabriel. So Arsenal, Raya in goal, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel and Calafiori the back four, Zubamendi and Rice, and then Trossard, Eze and Saka, and then Victor Gyökeres up the top. They're playing in their traditional red shirts and white shorts and red socks, and Crystal Palace are in all gold, as Arsenal have possession on the right hand side with Timber, who goes back to Gabriel. They've got Dean Henderson in goal, and then a three of Guéhi, the captain, Lacroix and Richards. Munoz right wing back with Wharton and Kamada back in the side after a rest in midweek, Holding, and then Mateta up the top with Sarr and Pino in behind, and Arsenal in possession on the halfway line with Gabriel. Now Calafiori with his short sleeves, wristband, hair tied back. Gabriel and Saliba in the centre. He looks like he's moving okay. Early stages, Gabriel. Keep an eye on that. It was a little thigh problem that he had. And here's Timber. And a 1-2. And Timber's got a chance to cross. Byline, right-footed, volleyed, high. Goes over everyone. Falls for Calafiori back to goal level with the 18-yard box on the left.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really interesting aspect of the game. Crystal Palace dropped into that back five, as you would expect. So in terms of Arsenal, how are they going to go and penetrate? On that occasion, it was Timber making up that extra man on the right-hand side, getting outside Saka and getting the cross in. Palace working very hard off the ball to try and negate any space, particularly in these central midfield areas.
Here's Saliba with a chip ball forward looking for Gyökeres, but it's intercepted by Palace. They win the header, and then a clearance down the line by Mitchell is snuffed out by Arsenal, but Mateta's got a foot in and he comes forward, and there's a hush, and he's just dinked it round his man there. He's midway inside the half, tries the ball through towards Sarr, well read by Gabriel. He partially clears, and Trossard's got to do something with this on the edge of the D. Nice little 1-2, and Trossard's on the run, and he's out towards halfway, Trossard, and he slides the ball looking for a run of Gyökeres, and across comes Guéhi and puts it out for it was Lacroix in fact, for a throw-in for Arsenal, level with the 18-yard box on the right. 0-0, 3 minutes gone.
Yeah, brilliant bit of covering from Lacroix, and again, rightfully so, Mark Guéhi gets a lot of plaudits for what he does, but he's been a brilliant signing, just showing his athleticism, his pace. Victor Gyökeres wanting to try and run in that channel, something he does ever so well, but Lacroix very much equal to that, got himself over and snuffed out any danger.
Choice of listening. We've got all these 2 o'clock games for you live on 5 Live. And if the goal goes in any of those, we've got reporters at each game as well. Fastest goal service this Sunday afternoon for you, as Calafiori has got the ball on the lip of the centre circle. Here's Eze dribbling the ball forward. Good run this from Eze, tries to toe poke it through, but Palace have come up with possession. Now they've got it with Pino, first touch of the game for him, bringing it towards the halfway line. 3 around him, including Saka. Nice little 1-2, tries to get it into the path of Sarr. Calafiori intercepts, and Arsenal have deep possession again with Zubamendi. Early chance then at Bournemouth, Andy Stevenson.
And it's an early chance for the home side. Marcus Tavernier, low shot from the edge of the area, might have been hitting the post, but Matt Sells in the Forest goal didn't take any chances, parried it behind for a corner. It's Bournemouth 0, Nottingham Forest 0.
Still 0-0 between Arsenal and Palace here, and we'll keep you up to date with all the other games as well, as Saliba is in possession. 5 yards inside his own half, goes square to Calafiori, and Palace with a tentative press, not a full court, as here's Eze up against Wharton, goes square to Saliba. Arsenal keeping possession. Zubamendi, Saliba, Eze, ball through into the feet of Gyökeres and tries to turn the ball around the corner, but it's intercepted, and Tyrick Mitchell will come away with it. They've won 5 of the last 6 meetings against Palace, apart from a 2-2 draw in this fixture in April. So Palace with some good, fairly recent memories 6 months ago when they got a 2-2 draw here, and Arsenal are in possession. Here's Saliba, He's got movement ahead of him from Timber, who's overlapping, and then Saka ahead of him, but he decides to go back and square to Gabriel. Early thoughts from Joby McAnuff?
Yeah, again, I think as we would have expected in terms of the game set up, Palace being really diligent off the ball. Their challenge is going to be when they do win it back, which they have done once or twice, can they get the ball into forward areas?
And they've done it here as well. And here is Mateta, edge of the penalty area. Jean-Philippe Mateta, he's turned away from goal, but they've still got possession with Pino, corner of the penalty area. In comes across towards Mateta. Gabriel just ducks underneath it, and it's going to roll out for a goal kick. But just what you were saying there, when they get those opportunities, it's about trying to forge a chance for Mateta.
Yeah, and that's why he's so important. It goes up to him about 20 yards out. He does really well just to hold the ball up, allows Pino to come and join him just at the width of that 18-yard box, floats a lovely little ball into that back post area, just evades Daniel Munoz, who come into that back post, something he does so well. But again, it's a really important part of what Palace do, because they can't just sit back and defend all day and invite the pressure. And also Arsenal, it just keeps them on their toes, understanding there is going to be a threat if they do give the ball away cheaply.
Saliba, midway inside his own half, and now Rice comes and picks it up. Edge of the centre circle, I should say. And Rice again with his white boots on. Saliba to Gabriel. Let's get an early update then from Wolves. Burnley, Charlie Slater.
6 gone, 0-0. Wolves have just had a really good chance though. Tuanzebe gave the ball away on the halfway line. Rodrigo Gomez ran with it 50 yards, drew a save out of the goalkeeper. 0-0.
Saka's offside here, so it'll be a free kick to Crystal Palace. So we'll go for an update somewhere else. Yeah, let's go back to Villa then. Villa, Man City, Aaron Paul.
Aston Villa 0, Manchester City 0. The visitors starting very energetically, just trying to get behind the Villa back line, and they've seen the first opportunity of the game. Tiani Reinders, right side of the area, just advancing in, fired a shot which swirled in towards goal, just over Emi Martinez's crossbar. 0-0.
0-0 here, and Palace still yet to take this free kick, which is just on the corner of their own penalty area. And Dean Henderson, all in grey, plants it long towards Mateta, and a little nudge there on Gabriel, and it's going to be a free kick for Arsenal midway inside their own half. 2 points clear of Sunderland in the table, could go 5 points clear at the top. They're 3 clear of Manchester City, and Joby, this could be a big afternoon. Imagine a City defeat and an Arsenal win here. There could be some clear daylight.
Yeah, and it does. Listen, they want to win every game, of course they do, but when they've seen what they would have watched last night with Liverpool being so open and so unorganised, really, it gives you that extra little bit of boost when you wake up the next day coming into the game, and they'll know what a win will do, not just for themselves but to Liverpool as well. You know, more ground for them to try and catch up, and again, it's been so much based on such a solid defensive unit. Just really interesting watching Gabriel Heinze in the warm-up. You know, he's joined the coaching staff and really getting that defensive line going, and they come out to take a real pride in being hard to beat. They don't want to concede any goals, and you can understand why when you see him in there really calling the shot.
A long ball forward from Arsenal, went out for a goal kick, and Palace are trying to play their way out at the back, and the press worked. Forward ball from Palace, who got the ball back, and Mateta, causing a nuisance of himself, tries to toe-poke it through towards Pino on the edge of the area. Here's Munoz on the overlap, low ball in towards Pino, and Arsenal clear behind for a corner for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, brilliant from Mateta. Loves a physical battle. Ball goes up to him, it's really not in his favour, but he makes the most of it, just bumps Saliba out the way. Saliba then has a little bit of a panic, wins the ball back. Mateta tries to slide in Pino, but good covering from Timber, who comes flying across. Then the ball comes back in from Munoz, but well defended in the end. First set piece, Crystal Palace corner.
Wharton goes across to take it, to swing it in left-footed. 6 in the penalty area for Palace at the moment, with one on the edge, Kamada on the edge as well. Wharton raises one hand, in it comes, left-footed, in swing, a good delivery, takes a flick off a Palace head, headed away and back in by Palace, bouncing around in the penalty area, and Rice brings it away and takes a flick, I think, off a Palace player, and it is going to be an Arsenal throw midway inside their own half on the left.
Yeah, well, it's normally Arsenal causing carnage from set pieces, but that was a brilliant delivery from Wharton. Gahey actually gets a touch at the near post. Unfortunately, can't quite fall for Mateta, who's waiting on that back post area. Arsenal snuff out the danger, but a really good delivery and a little moment of danger for Arsenal there.
Some of the stats surrounding this one: Arsenal not faced a shot on target in the last 2 Premier League matches. Only Manchester City have ever done 3 in the Premier League. That was back in 2014. And then you look at Palace, and they've had the most shots on target of any team, 43. Something's got to give.
Yeah, well, listen, I think from Crystal Palace's perspective, the fact they have been creating opportunities will be the positive, but maybe not taking them. I think in those games, the tight games, and particularly at home, you know, they've drawn a few that they definitely had opportunities to go and win it. But as you say, with Arsenal, and a lot said about the back 4 and the defensive unit, but for me it starts from the front. I think Viktor Gyökeres has got some unfair criticism at times, maybe for the lack of goals, but it all starts from him. I saw a lot of him at Coventry City, worked so hard off the ball, you know, making sure that he's that first point of press, and then obviously the units behind him, and it is really a team effort as to why they've been so hard to break down.
Yeah, 5 goals in all competitions, 3 in the Premier League for Viktor Gyökeres this season. I think when you come and you've scored 54 in 52 in all comps the season before, that adds its own pressure. As Saka is in possession, and then Zubimendi with a nice ball out to the left hand side to Calafiori, 10 yards inside the Palace half. Now back inside to Rice, 5 yards inside the Crystal Palace half, and Arsenal just knocking about. They've gone back to Gabriel, content to keep possession deep, and Crystal Palace, as Joby said, staying very disciplined without the ball, and then trying to win it back with that press, and Mitchell doing a good job on Saka there to force him back.
Yeah, really good battle down this side, but what he has to be careful of, Tyreek Mitchell, is Timber, who's almost the spare man, because Pino is quite narrow at times. He's just getting on the ball here. Timber just down the right hand side, just in the opposition half, and again it's going to be the timing of that movement. Once or twice he's made the underlap almost inside Saka, once or twice he's gone down the outside, so certainly a big job for Tyreek Mitchell with those two on his side.
Gabriel, long ball towards Trossard. Richards is with him, but Trossard does get to it on the byline just inside the penalty area. Now the flag goes up for offside. That was extremely late.
Yeah, I think he wanted to let it go and see, but we see that a lot, don't we, where it looks so obvious. I'm not sure quite why the flag just doesn't go up a little bit earlier, but again the type of run from Trossard in that sort of inside left channel when it is such a tight back line, you need that penetrative run to just try and open things up. So clearly from Arsenal's perspective, something they've identified with those runs to try and disrupt that back line.
John Bon Jovi sitting somewhere down below us here at the Emirates Stadium. Mikel Arteta on the edge of his technical area, arms folded in a puffer jacket as Palace have possession, and they chip a ball forward which is overhit, looking for the run of Sarr, and it's going to be a goal kick for Arsenal. No goals here, 13 minutes of the game gone, 5 live, and a choice of listening. All 4 of these 2 o'clocks you can listen to. We've got Aston Villa and Man City on Sports Extra, and we'll have updates from Aaron Paul. It's 0-0 there. Wolves Burnley is on Sports Extra at 3, and Bournemouth versus Forest is on Sports Extra 2. In fact, let's get an update from there with Andy Stevenson.
Still goalless after 12 minutes. Another good chance for Bournemouth. Nottingham Forest cannot live with their high press at the moment. Antoine Semenyo swung his boot at the ball. Matt Sells had to be alive to the shot through a crowd of legs. It's 0-0.
Here's Gyökeres in possession, turning away from goal. Arsenal in possession with Zubimendi, looking to put a ball towards Eze, but it's intercepted. Right, there's been a goal at Wolves Burnley. Charlie Slater.
Against the run of play, but this is quite brilliant from Burnley. A long ball over the top from the halfway line, drops over the shoulder of Zian Fleming. First time with his right foot, calmly, composure, slots it into the bottom corner of the net. Wolves 0, Burnley 1, 14 on the clock.
Wolves struggles continue. Thank you, Charlie. Saka goes down under a strong challenge. They won the ball, according to the referee. It was Tom Bramall today. 15 yellows, 1 red, sent off Alexis McAllister a little bit earlier in the season for Liverpool, and it'll be a throw-in for Palace midway inside their own half, left-hand side.
Yeah, just another moment possibly Arsenal thought they were going to get her in, with Gyökeres making another run in behind, but was well seen in the end. They're just, for me, seemingly trying to work their way in here, Arsenal, because when they've got the ball and keep in possession, it's really difficult to try and break Crystal Palace down either through the lines or over the tops. They're just trying every now and again, just that little one left into the space for a runner to go and get onto it. Dean Henderson's but really bright, making sure he's ready to sweep anything up.
Richards, as a ball forward from Palace hits the backside of Adam Wharton, and that was the ironic cheer you could hear in the background. And Palace are in possession, and Arsenal are pressing. They're pressing Guéhi. The two England teammates, Saka and Guéhi, battling for possession, and Guéhi keeps possession to another England player, Adam Wharton, wearing the number 20. Has a little look up midway inside his own half and takes 2 touches and then waves his arm forward to ask for movement further forward from Crystal Palace. And now it's Tyreek Mitchell just inside his own half. Back to Guéhi, under pressure from Eza. Difficult to hear whether Eza has had any boos or anything like that from any of the Palace fans in that corner over to our right hand side, just in the corner of the clock end. You'd like to think he would get a good reception.
Well, I think you would have heard it by now. I certainly did when I went back to playing against Palace when I left there. But again, hopefully from his perspective, not. He was such a fantastic player for them, and I think beyond that, the way that he handled himself with all the speculation, we've seen examples where it didn't quite go the same way, and you absolutely understand fans' anger at the way some players, Isak in particular, handled his situation, whereas Eza, did everything that he was required to do off the back of course, last season, and the end to the season that he had, FA Cup. So I'm sure that it will be a warm reception. Not that we have heard anything too much today.
Arsenal in possession. How did it go for you back at Palace, by the way, dare I ask?
Lots of boosts.
Arsenal in possession, deep in their own half, 0-0, 17 minutes gone, 5 Live from the BBC. And 5 Live and BBC sounds as Eza picks up possession. Those green boots, really deep. About 15 yards inside his own half. And just goes square to Saliba and Gabriel. 5 across the back for Palace. And then Wharton and Kamada holding. And then one of them will spring and one of them will stay to try and press the ball. Oliver Glasner waving his arms in his semi-Arsene Wenger coat, and that's a nice ball that's just broken a line to Eza on the halfway line, right on the centre spot. Gets possession and then sprints away to the right-hand side. Then his ball to Saka is under hit, and now here goes Tyreek Mitchell down the left-hand side. He's got 3 or 4 other Crystal Palace shirts up with him. Here's Pino, nice feet. Good defending from Arsenal, but Palace have got the ball back midway inside their own half. Pino, Wharton, and then back to Guéhi. And Guéhi will go all the way back to Lacroix.
Yeah, Mark Guéhi, really important there. They had an opportunity to break at pace, didn't quite materialise. Then he's screaming at Kamada saying, keep the ball, have a little spell. And these periods are so important for Crystal Palace because they haven't had a lot of it. So when they do get it, they have to make sure that they keep the ball.
That's a terrific ball from Adam Wharton. And now here's Sarr, edge of the penalty area, tries to lay in Munoz on the overlap. It wasn't the right ball. He had so much space there, Sarr, and I think Munoz is saying, why have you played that pass when you've got the ball with so much space on the edge of the box? And it's a goal kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, well, Sarr picks up the ball just outside the 18-yard box. He has got space to go and drive in. Munoz is almost making a run as a decoy outside him, but Sarr takes that option, which was the wrong one. Again, from Crystal Palace's perspective, when they have got the ball, they've got in some really good areas. I think overall, first sort of nearly 20 minutes or so, they'd be fairly happy with how they've started today's game.
Arsenal in possession inside their own half. It's 0-0. All of the Premier League games today are live on 5 Live for you. Currently just the 1 goal in the 2 o'clock kickoffs. Burnley through Fleming, a 1-0 up at Wolves. Villa and Man City still 0-0. And we'll get another update from Bournemouth. Bournemouth Forest, Andy Stevenson.
Still 0-0, but we've had a right old rumpus near the halfway line between Justin Kluivert and Douglas Luiz. Kluivert went in quite tough on Luiz, and then all hell broke loose, really. They were grabbing each other. It's still Bournemouth 0, Nottingham Forest 0, 2 yellow cards.
Eza with a run into the D. Palace do their jobs and clear the ball away. And we've had a goal between Villa and City. Aaron Paul.
And the noise will tell you who it's gone to. Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. And with the thump of his chest, Matty Cash celebrates. What a fabulous strike this is. Ball fizzed in towards him on the edge of the D. He able to advance to it. Gets inside, shapes himself to shoot. Left-footed, bang past the goalkeeper. Maybe it took a deflection of Ruben Diaz. But Matty Cash has Aston Villa ahead here. Villa 1, Manchester City 0.
Thank you, Aaron. And what a big goal that could be in the context of this one as well. If Arsenal can find a way to beat Palace, who've looked so well organised so far. Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, it's just a matter of patience for Crystal Palace when they haven't got the ball, and also for Arsenal. Eze in particular, he's got to be disciplined. There's one or two times he's come into his own half to receive the ball, but he's got to stay the other side of Wharton and Kamada. They've only done it once or twice where they're drawing Crystal Palace's press on, and then they're able to bypass that and go into his feet in that number 10 position. Just had a little bit of a run, didn't he? Nearly got himself into the box. Brilliant recovery tackle from Wharton, actually, to just see at that little bit of danger. But at the moment, as I say, Palace be very, very pleased with just how frustrated Arsenal are looking at times.
It is a little flat here at the Emirates at the moment. 20 minutes gone, 0-0. Zubamendi wearing 36 for Arsenal in possession on the halfway line and forced to go back to Gabriel. Gabriel goes back to Raya, all in green. And it's an incredible record, isn't it, Raya? 8 clean sheets in all competitions this season and not conceded a shot on target, Arsenal, in the last 2 Premier League matches. You can see why.
Yeah, absolutely remarkable. And again, for me, it just comes from that real desire of the whole team, really, to be, I'm going to say the word horrible, but hard to beat and really take pride. I suppose in a world now where the emphasis is on beautiful looking football, and of course Arsenal do that at times, but they certainly haven't lost track of wanting to keep clean sheets first and foremost, and it really has given them.
Palace have won the ball back and they're away with Sarr, who's going to strike one, and across brilliantly comes Gabriel and blocks it, sliding through his body on the line. They just nicked it back there, just inside the Arsenal half, and Sarr went running through and decided to take it with his right foot.
Yes, numerous times now. Again, I spoke about being patient. Zubamendi was the one who gives a sloppy pass away, and as it's just going sideways, about 40-50 yards out, Sarr's the one who's onto it, intercepts the ball, drives into the box, but Gabriel comes across with a brilliant sliding tackle to see that situation out. But again, I think Palace will be really encouraged with the amount of times they have managed to win the ball and break at pace.
Long ball forward from Arsenal down the left. It's won by Richards, and now it's in the feet of Sarr just inside his own half, and he wins the free kick. So free kick for Crystal Palace, just 10 yards inside their own half. Earlier, Hearts beat Celtic 3-1. Huge win for them. They're now 8 points clear after 9 matches of Celtic at the top of the Scottish Premiership. Brilliant work there from Gavin Wallace a little bit earlier on 5 Live as Palace play a long ball forward. Eze flicks a ball round the corner, but Saka wasn't on the same page. And it will be dealt with by Palace and Gahey. And it'll be a goal kick for Crystal Palace, 0-0.
He hasn't quite settled yet, Eze, has he? He's had 1 or 2 moments where he's got on the ball. That one he just tries to almost flick one behind him without really looking. He's got a little bit more time than he probably thinks he has on that occasion, but almost in a rush to get rid of the ball. And again, I said it can be difficult. So many different emotions swirling around playing against his former team.
Mateta, that's a ball through to Munoz, looked offside, but Munoz is through and is saved by Raya, and it will be cleared away by Calafiori. Flag hasn't gone up, he looked a long way off, it has now. He was offside, Munoz, and it'll be a free kick for Arsenal.
Well, it's taken about 5 minutes for the flag to go up. We all thought he was definitely going to be, but again, Mateta with Saliba battling, out muscles him and then tries to slide one through. Munoz just goes a little bit too early, very, very narrow. Raya doesn't know, makes a good save nonetheless, but again, another opportunity. You just feel from Palace's perspective, though, they do need to make the most of these opportunities and take one of these chances that they are getting in this first half.
Thomas Tuchel watching on, the England head coach. And Saliba in possession for Arsenal, 0-0. 5 Live from the BBC. And he knocks it square to Gabriel. Aston Villa leading Manchester City by a goal to nil. Burnley 1-0 up at Forest. Saliba is walking the ball to the halfway line. Fans getting frustrated with that. Zubimendi, in fact, there's a lot of arm waving going on amongst the Arsenal players. Declan Rice a little bit earlier on flinging his arms about, asking for movement, and here is Calafiori, and now Eza, 25 yards from goal. Good feet from him, but he's back to goal. He's got 3 around him, dances past a couple of challenges and keeps possession, but they have been forced back again. Timber back inside to Saliba, and now Saliba has had his pass intercepted. Every time they've tried to find Saka so far, Tyrick Mitchell has managed to intercept. There's Wharton's in possession on the halfway line, Kamada alongside him, and Palace are back with it.
Yeah, and I think you touched on the sense of frustration in the stadium, not just amongst the players themselves, but you can feel that, you know, and I think in the end Arsenal almost forcing situations that they don't need to. It's really about moving the ball a little bit quicker with a bit more intensity.
Mateta with a switch which was extravagant, and Mitchell with a cross with his left foot. It's going to find Munoz, who just cushions it back into the penalty area. Zubimendi wins a header clear. Richards plays the ball to Munoz, who just knocks it up in the air, and Arsenal should get possession here with Trossard, who's right down by his own corner flag, left hand side, and Gabriel clears away near the byline, left footed high. We've had a goal at Bournemouth. Andy Stevenson.
Bournemouth have taken the lead through their captain Marcus Tavernier, and it's a corner kick straight into the net over Matt Sells, who's normally so reliable, especially at set pieces. But it's Tavernier with a goal. Bournemouth 1, Nottingham Forest 0.
Palace in possession here on the halfway line, 0-0, 26 minutes gone. Here's Tyrick Mitchell, left-hand side. Got 3 to aim for if he wants to put a cross in. Goes low instead to Pino. Nice feet from Kamada, and Wharton's going to hit one. Did it take a deflection? Wharton is absolutely furious that it's not been given as a corner. Usually when you get that kind of reaction, you watch the replay and there is a touch.
Yeah, well, he is, as you say, screaming at the referee. Absolutely positive that there must have been a touch. It gets set back to him about 25 yards out. Looked a little bit scruffy, like he scuffed it, but he's clearly saying that he felt it did have a touch. But again, Palace getting themselves into a really good situation in and around that Arsenal 18-yard area.
Arsenal have got the ball inside their own 18 yards area with Raya, so we'll go for an update. Villa Man City, Aaron Paul.
Manchester City 0. City coming close to an equaliser. Bernardo Silva on the counter down the middle of the pitch, able to thread Erling Haaland through, beat the defender Konsa for pace. Haaland opening up and shooting with his left foot, going across the face of goal. Good save by Emi Martinez. Right now though, in a lengthy stoppage, Emi Buendia is down on the deck. Jadon Sancho warming up for Aston Villa. Villa lead though through that Matty Cash goal by a goal to nil.
Free kick for Arsenal just inside the Palace half. It was Guehi on Saka. So a set piece for Arsenal, and you've always got to be on your toes when there's a set piece for Arsenal.
Yeah, again, one of the big factors behind how well they've done, not just this season, but under Mikel Arteta in general, and always seem to find a way of getting that first contact. But it's not just that, it's the movement and the intent to go and get off of those situations.
Raya, who's going to knock this short. Rice spreads it to Trossard on the left-hand side. He's going to put a low ball across, but it's easily intercepted by Richards. One back, though, by Timber. He's got Saka outside him, but he's decided to go on a run inside. Now he finds Saka. He's got 3 around him straight away. Timber again. Timber trying to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Level with the penalty spot's done really well, and then it's fouled. And this is a free kick. It's given by the assistant on this side. Really good feet from Timber. They did very, very well there. 4 on 2, and they've managed to win themselves a free kick in a position to cross from the right.
Yeah, how good's he been this season, Timber? Absolutely outstanding. Seems to be in a situation that he can't wriggle out of. Sort of 2-3 players around him. Takes a couple of little touches, keeps the ball away from that pressure from Crystal Palace, but in the end I think it's Kamada who comes over and ends up upending him. So again, this is a real dangerous situation. Just over by the touchline here, just about 20 yards out. Declan Rice about to whip one in. Again, we all know his quality. It's going to be an outswinger.
Oliver Glasner doesn't think it was a free kick. Just a reminder that they've scored 10 set-piece goals this season, the fastest to 10 in Premier League history. after 8 games. Declan Rice, one arm in the air, whips it in, good looking delivery. Villa win the first contact and headed away. Midway inside the half, Zubamendi tries to put it back in. That's too strong for Rice, and it's out for a throw-in right by the corner flag to Crystal Palace. And we'll go for an update of Wolves-Burnley. Have Wolves responded? Charlie Slater.
No, but Burnley have doubled their lead, and the Wolves fans are responding by booing their team. Perfect timing, John. 29 on the clock. Ball from the right-hand side, dropping out to the left wing, turned back into the penalty area and put on a plate for Zian Fleming. 3 yards out, slots it home. Wolves 0, Burnley 2, natives restless.
Very much so, and you can understand why. Big games, these last 2 for Wolves, and heading to defeat against Burnley. The thing is, with Wolves at the moment, you just don't see where any creativity, let alone goals, is going to come from, as Palace are in possession on the halfway line. 0-0, half an hour gone. No real clear-cut chances to tell you about in the game so far. It's not come to light yet.
Well, it hasn't, and probably emphasis more on Arsenal. I think these are the types of games I think there has been.
Here's Mateta after a ball through from Wharton, but he just can't gather it. Saliba's done well, and it's going to go out for a throw into Arsenal near the corner flag on the left-hand side. Carry on, Joby.
Yeah, just going back to my point, I think these are, for Arsenal fans, the types of games, and they are. If you're going to go and win leagues, and I mean this with the utmost respect to Crystal Palace, that you have to win your home games, and I think the particular way that the game's panning out, Palace sitting in, Arsenal not finding a way at the moment to be able to break that down. It is Palace who's looked more dangerous, maybe no shots actually in terms of what Raya's had to save, but definitely situations that they've got themselves into that they've looked like they could be the ones to potentially get that first goal.
More Premier League commentaries than anyone else. 5 Live on BBC Sounds. We've got all of the games covered for you this afternoon. Let's get an update from Villa Man City. Aaron Paul.
Villa 1, Manchester City 0. The home side so close to a second. Ollie Watkins on the break. Him and Jadon Sancho couldn't decide what to do with the ball, so they fed in John McGinn, who smashed a shot in towards goal. And I'll tell you what, it was just wide of the post. Took a deflection. Villa couldn't do anything with the corner. They still lead Manchester City by a goal to 0.
Long ball from Arsenal, and Gyökeres went for it and just gave a little shove according to the referee, and it's been a free kick given for Palace just on the edge of their penalty area. 32 minutes gone. 2 touches in the opposition box so far for Arsenal, and 7 for Crystal Palace. Backs up what you were saying, Joby.
Yeah, absolutely. They just seem to have a directness whenever they win it back around the middle of the pitch. It is right, let's go, can we go and attack as quickly as possible? And I think Arsenal in those transitions haven't quite got to grips with that yet.
Mitchell, left-hand side, with a chance to cross after Rice couldn't find his Arsenal teammate. Coming across really well there is Timbo, does look sharp. Gyökeres gives a bump to Lacroix and is away down the right-hand side. Victor Gyökeres holds the ball up. It's got no support whatsoever at the moment. Goes inside. Zubamendi finds Rice. 25 yards from goal. Urged to shoot. Trossard in the penalty area. Right foot strikes it in a save. We've had a shot on target for Arsenal. Comfortable for Henderson, low down to his right.
Yeah, and I think he'll be disappointed with that. Leandro Trossard, he actually ends up getting in a really good position, but it all comes from that willingness to run in behind by Victor Gyökeres. Gets himself in a situation down the side of the box, can't get the shot off, so comes back out, works the ball into midfield. They then able to switch it over to Trossard. Declan Rice slides it down in the box, and again, I'd be really disappointed he doesn't make more of it. It was a decent opportunity for him, probably 10-12 yards out on his favoured right hand side. Just doesn't quite get the power that he needed to really test Dean Henderson.
And Pino knocks the ball out of play, looking for Tyreek Mitchell down the left hand side, and it's a throw in for Arsenal, just level with their own 18-yard box on the right hand side. No goals. That was Arsenal's first shot of the goal of the game rather so far, compared to Crystal Palace's 3 shots. That is what we're dealing with after 34 minutes of this one, as Gyökeres picks the ball up just inside his own half and just cushions it back to Eza, who finds Rice, and now Calafiori comes inside on his left foot. Good challenge from Wharton. Arsenal have got possession though, 5 yards inside the Palace half, centre field. Zubamendi Now Saliba, little bit more urgency about them. Saka on the right hand side, one of the few times he's actually received possession, but he's not received possession in any space because Tyrick Mitchell at the moment is doing a really good job with him. As Zubamendi's in possession now, 10 yards inside the Palace half. A little spin turn from Eza, dispossessed. Palace have got the ball back, coming out of their own half now with Pino, who knocks the ball to the left hand side to Kamada, who thinks about the big switch because Munoz was there, but instead goes back as the camera that keeps up with play whizzes past us, the robot camera. Never actually seen that up close.
Moving a lot quicker than I do these days, John, I've got to say.
It reminds me of the hare at the Greyhounds flying down the track. Palace are in possession right hand side. Into the feet of Sarr, who's got it near the corner flag. Rice with him. They've got three in the middle here, Palace, waiting for a cross if they can find one. They've gone all the way back to Richards, and now the Arsenal fans will try and get behind their team. So they haven't showed very much as yet, as Gahey is forced all the way back to Dean Henderson. A lot of talk in the build-up to this about rest and the amount of rest that Arsenal have had with their game on Tuesday and the amount of rest that Palace have had with their game on Thursday. What do you read into that, Joby?
Well, I think at this stage of the season, probably not a massive issue, certainly as it goes on and they play more games and the travelling and the games accumulate and the fatigue accumulates, could become a bit more of a factor for Crystal Palace. It is definitely something I looked at the start of this game. Sometimes it's just that little bit of sharpness, you know, that extra little yard either from yourself in terms of your pace, maybe on your passing, but I've got to say, you know, Palace have not looked at all fatigued. You know, they've been brilliant in this first half. So Arsenal probably the team that's looked a bit more laboured, a little bit more, I wouldn't say leggy, but just need to insert a bit more intensity. That one chance that they have had really has come when they moved the ball quickly. It was probably the first time, 35 minutes in the game, where Palace have got a little bit disorganised from the run by Gyökeres. They then come out, switch it and get over to Trossard really quickly. At the moment you've got Saliba standing on the ball. It's just all a bit too pedestrian at the moment. Actually, I think they're playing into Palace's hands, who might potentially have come into the game a little bit more tired, but you don't really feel it when the game's like this.
Yeah, and Mikel Arteta's just injected some energy from his technical area, throwing his arms around, and that ball is going to go out for a goal kick for Palace, and they've been forced to go long there, Arsenal.
Yeah, and again, Saka looked a little bit dejected at times in this first half, but they have played him really, really well. At times it's Mitchell jumping out, almost man-to-man marking him, and I spoke about Timber being the one at times going on the inside, but he's just going into Gahey, who's more than happy to cover that run. So in terms of the way they've set up and they're dealing with the Arsenal threats, so far so good from Crystal Palace.
Crowd not happy how long Dean Henderson's taking to take this goal kick. They were going to go short, but then he sent everyone forward and planted a long ball, and Arsenal have come up with possession. After winning the second ball, it's Trossard running towards the edge of the penalty area. He's still got it. Now he's challenged. Calafiori, step over with his orange boots, back to Zubamendi. Is there any space here for Saka, who's come inside on his left foot? He's had to get rid of it back to Saliba, because Palace are again back in their shape. Very, very good, very well. And Pino there snakes out a leg and fouls Saka, and it's going to be a free kick for Arsenal. And he wasn't really going anywhere there, Saka.
No, really, really sloppy that from Pino. And these are the frustrating moments where they've worked so hard off the ball. And again, we know how dangerous Arsenal can be. It's just a lazy little dangle of a leg really from Pino. He does catch Saka, but it's in a really promising position from Arsenal, probably midway in their own half on the right hand side. You've got the big boys again going round the back, Gabriel, Saliba, Gyökeres, all occupying that sort of space at the end of that back line from Crystal Palace.
That's the voice of Joby McAnuff, formerly of Crystal Palace. 7 minutes plus added time to the break. Arsenal 0, Crystal Palace 0, and the free kick is about 40 yards out on the right, and Rice flings it into the penalty area. Heads go up. Eza scores! Wouldn't you just know it? Doesn't really celebrate, just walks away towards the clock end, but from a set piece. That's 11 for the season for Arsenal. They've broken the deadlock. Eza against his former club with a brilliant volley. It's Arsenal 1, Palace 0.
Well, it was almost inevitable, wasn't it? And he hasn't had the best first 40 minutes of the game, but again a set piece causes problems. A needless one given away. It's whipped into that back post area. It's not cleared properly. Drops out to Eza, probably about 10 yards out. Just comes onto it. It's actually a brilliant finish. He's got to get over. It's quite high. Brilliant athleticism there and technique to stay over the ball, and ends up guiding it into the back of the net. He's had 1 or 2 opportunities like that so far this season. Hasn't been able to stick them away in the league. Brilliant moment for him against obviously a team that means a lot to him, but I'm sure he's been absolutely desperate for that first Premier League goal, and he's got it.
It looks so nonchalant, but it's such a difficult skill what he has just done. As you say, it is such a good volley because he hasn't waited for it to drop. He's leapt and attacked it to keep that down. Anyone like me who's played five-a-side knows that they usually end up, you know, in a field over the fence behind the five-a-side pitch.
Well, it's not just you who play five-a-side. I call myself a professional for a few years, and probably from my own experience that's going over the bar as well. But like you say, he's got to really adjust himself very, very quickly, and to get that sort of technique when it's so high up and get the control is absolutely magnificent from him.
And Palace are in possession. Can they respond? They're going to have to come out a little, you'd think. Richards in possession on the halfway line after a good slide tackle from Wharton, and now they've got it with Lacroix. And now Gahey on the halfway line, left hand side. Gahey, crossfield ball headed behind by Calafiori. So a corner for Crystal Palace, and we've got a penalty. Wolves Burnley. Charlie Slater.
A potential lifeline for Wolves. They are trailing by 2-0, but Jurgen Strand Larsen stands over the ball now with a penalty for the home side. Santi Bueno was fouled by Cullen, tried to clear across away, caught the player first. Lengthy VAR check. It has now been taken place and approved. Little bit of pushing and shoving on the edge of the penalty area. That now dies down, and it is Jurgen Strand Larsen to give his side, his manager, a much needed lifeline. Takes a big breath, now a long run up, strides forwards and scores. Wolves have one back. Wolves 1, Burnley 2.
Thank you, Charlie. Corner for Palace from the right hand side, whipped in low. Gyökeres partially clears. It wasn't the best corner from Wharton, but they've got possession, Palace, and they've still got everyone forward. Gahey, is that a bit of a straight ball? Header won by Arsenal, and they'll keep it in with Calafiori in the left back spot, and now they've won a throw. That's really good from Calafiori. Arsenal leading by 1-0. Wouldn't you just know that Eberechi Eze would score his first Premier League goal for Arsenal against his former club? How often we hear stories like that, Joby, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely, and not just the fact it's against Crystal Palace, but I mean everything around his move here, the fact it's his boyhood club, you know, been released when he was a lot younger, so that'll be such a special memory for him, I'm sure, and I'm absolutely positive he'll go on and kick on from here.
Sarr trying to play a ball through towards Pino, gets a little nick off Zubamendi and goes through towards Raya, who will roll it out back to Zubamendi for Arsenal midway inside his own half. 2.5 minutes plus added time to the break on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, as that is clumsy on timber from Tyreek Mitchell, and it's another free kick for Arsenal. Can't afford to go giving these away. It was Pino sloppy last time, and this time it's Mitchell.
Yeah, and we've spoken about how good Mitchell is on this occasion. To be fair, he just loses his foot in slightly. The ball's getting played down the right hand channel. It's all under control. All he's got to do is just shepherd Timber down the line, but he just clips his sort of heels, and then he ends up falling forwards into Timber, gives away a free kick. Again, really dangerous position, 25 yards out on the right hand side. Going to be another outswinger from Declan Rice.
Well, his delivery that led to the Eze goal was terrific. 90 seconds plus added time left in the first half. Rice has another free kick. In it comes, headed away at the near post. It wasn't as good as his last delivery. Didn't beat the first defender of Crystal Palace, but here's Eze again. He's got some space and strikes it maybe just a fraction of a second earlier. It just hit the back of a Palace defender. Maybe if he just struck it slightly earlier, as Zubamendi switches the play towards the far side. Trossard's going to get hold of this, but under no urgency from him to keep it in. They've got a throw in level with the Palace 18-yard box on the left hand side, and this is where Arsenal are just so difficult to play against now, because they don't concede many goals. 3 this season in the Premier League.
Yeah, and that's why that first goal was so important. And for Crystal Palace, we spoke about that fatigue. You know, it's amazing how you don't really feel it as much when you're nice and compact, you're in your shape, you're pressing from, you know, smaller distances.
Calafiori's long throw. It's headed partially clear by Palace. Then they pick up possession and plant a ball long down the right, which is going to be kept in by Calafiori. And then back to Zubamendi, and then back to Raya, who, very good feet from him with his left foot, plays the ball to Calafiori, gets it back, and now plants a long, high, spinning ball over halfway. Guéhi wins the header. Mikel Arteta catches it and then rolls it to Timber. And at the end of the first half, we will have 2 minutes of stoppage time with Arsenal leading by a goal to 0. Aston Villa 1-0 up against Manchester City. So as it stands, Arsenal are 5 points clear of Bournemouth at the top of the table. Guéhi got some defending to do. Gyökeres for company. Looked like a foul from Saka. It was on Tyreek Mitchell. Free kick for Palace midway inside their own half on the left hand side. Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, and the whole mood around here has changed, as you would of course expect, but I think Oliver Glasner will be so disappointed at the timing of that goal, because you go in at half time 0-0, you've carried out your game plan absolutely perfectly really in that first half, and all it is a bit of sloppiness and a bit of laziness from Pino, giving that free kick away and then not defending that situation. The whole dynamic has now changed. Arsenal seem to have that extra spring in their step and that extra yard or two in terms of their pressing and urgency at which they're moving the ball, where it just didn't feel like that sort of 5-10 minutes ago really.
Bournemouth 2, Forest 0. Arsenal 1-0 against Palace here. Villa leading Manchester City by a goal to 0, and Burnley 2-1 up at Wolves. And you've got a choice of listening to any of those games on 5 Live this afternoon. Villa Man City on Sports Extra as it's cleared away by Palace, only as far as Trossard on the left hand side, and he's let it go out, but it's going to be a throw in to Palace. He just throws the ball away there just in front of the Palace fans, Trossard, and that's why you can hear them barracking him in the background. It's a Palace throw near the corner flag in front of their own supporters on the right hand side. We've got Bournemouth versus Forest on Sports Extra 2, Wolves Burnley on Sports Extra 3, and then later we've got Everton Spurs with John Murray and Sue Smith. The 4:30 kickoff to complete your 5 games, all live on 5 Live. And that is the half-time whistle. And it's been a story as old as time for Arsenal. Not the best half of football. 0 shots for over half an hour. They get a set piece. Eza scores against his former club with a brilliant flying volley. And so the ball's cleared by Palace, and they go into the break 1-0 up.
Yeah, and when they're doing as well as they have done, it's amazing how these things do go for you, because for me they have been second best in that first half, and Crystal Palace will be really disappointed with the manner at which they conceded. Again, another game where they've actually performed really well, and they'll feel they should be going in at least 0-0. But as I say, when you've got that feeling of invincibility around you, and you know the form that they're in from an Arsenal perspective, these are the kinds of results that you just dig out even when you're not playing well, and that is the sign of a top team.
Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0.
The goal, Joby, kind of reminded me of a Van Persie volley for Arsenal at Charlton quite a few years ago, which sort of tells you everything you need to know. That technique is possessed only by the very few, isn't it?
Yeah, well, like I said, I definitely didn't, Steve. So, no,
I knew that.
I think Clinton Morrison probably say he did. But, no, listen, it was a brilliant finish. It's one of those that I think it's easy to get wrong as it drops down. And especially for him, you know, your eyes light up. He knows how important this is going to be. But just the ability and the athleticism to get himself in a position, he's really had to almost Kung Fu style-esque, you know, in terms of getting it up and then being able to control it.
It's a Daniel LaRusso karate kid for those old enough.
Good.
With a reference.
What bird was it called, that kick? Oh, it's
crane.
The crane. The crane. I've seen John Akers do a few of those before. Right, thank you two. Aston Villa, Manchester City has reached half-time. We'll go there shortly, but there's been another goal at Molineux. Charlie Slater.
Wolves have themselves an equaliser deep in first half stoppage time. Brilliant, tricky wing play from Jean-Rickner Bellegarde on the right wing. He was playing a game of FIFA all on his own, eventually crossed it. It was nodded back across goal, and Marshall Manetzi was unmarked at the back post. I thought he might be offside, but for the time being, the goal stands. Wolves 2, Burnley 2.
As it stands, Arsenal in the Premier League would go 6 points above Manchester City and 7 above Liverpool. City at Villa, half-time there. Aaron Paul.
It is Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 0. A stunning left-footed Matty Cash strike, the difference between the two teams. City started the brighter of the two, full of energy. Tierney Reinders popping an effort over the crossbar, but once the goal arrived, Villa began to dictate and got their strike. Buendia fizzing the ball to the edge of the area. Cash infield, edge of the D, drilled it in with his weaker foot, and it nestled into the corner of the net with Donnarumma flat-footed. Erling Haaland came close to an equaliser minutes later. His tame shot parried by Martinez, with John McGinn having the best of the limited other chances, firing wide of the post from range. Pep Guardiola's side with plenty to do in the second half here, Steve. They trail Aston Villa by a goal to nil.
We made a really big deal of Sunderland yesterday, rightly so, going second in the Premier League. At the moment, they're going to be replaced by Bournemouth. Andy Stevenson.
And Bournemouth have a deserved 2-0 lead here at the break over Nottingham Forest. The first goal was straight from a corner, curled in and over Matt Sells by skipper Marcus Tavernier. When we saw the replay afterwards, it looked like the corner shouldn't have been given in the first place, but the goal stood. The second goal was a beauty from Junior Krupi. He looks another real talent brought in here at Bournemouth. A crisp, low shot into the bottom left corner. The closest Forest have come was a powerful shot from Nico Williams, but straight at Petrovic. Sean Dyche has spent most of the half looking very frustrated indeed. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Andy, I think flashing forward, that corner decision, when it does quite clearly come back off Tavernier and should have been a goal kick, we're going to get a lot more should there be VAR for corners after that, I think.
Yeah, and also, there was a lot of confusion, I think, in the crowd because the replay obviously came up after the goal had been scored and given. The Nottingham Forest players crowded around the referee, but as you say, there is still confusion about whether VAR could have even got involved in that. I don't think it could have done, but the replay was still shown on the screens here. So it was an unusual situation, but Bournemouth have been just far, far better than Forest all over the pitch.
Half-time at Molineux, and what a half, Charlie.
What a half indeed. Wolves 2, Burnley 2. A late first half comeback spares the Wolves players a right earful from their fans. 2 Zian Fleming goals for Burnley had them 2 up, but Josh Collin fouled Santi Bueno in the penalty area 5 minutes before the break, and Jorgen Strand Larsen made no mistake from the spot. That's his first Premier League goal of the season. Then Manetzi scored the equaliser in the 4th minute of stoppage time. Wolves didn't want the half-time whistle in the end, but for the first 35 minutes or so, it looked like they never wanted to see a football again. Half-time, 2-2.
Remember, you can listen to the second half of all of these games on BBC Sounds. Coming up next, then, we're going to hear from the Hearts manager, Derek McInnes. They beat Celtic earlier today to move 8 points clear of Brendan Rodgers' side at the top of the Scottish Premiership. We'll be at Ibrox as well in the next 10 minutes. Danny Rowe will get his Rangers managerial career in the league underway at home to Kilmarnock. We'll make our first trip of the day to the Hill Dickinson as well, because Everton Spurs is live on Premier League Sunday at 4:30. All of that to come after the news with Nick Hatfield.
The voice of the UK.
This is BBC Radio 5 Live.
Sir Keir Starmer says a sex offender who was mistakenly released from prison will be deported after he was found this morning in North London. Hadush Kabatu, a migrant from Ethiopia, is back in custody following a 2-day search. He was jailed last month for assaulting a woman and a 14-year-old girl in Essex. Our correspondent Graham Satchel's in Finsbury Park, where Kabatu was found after a police tip-off.
They were almost entirely reliant on the public to spot him, and that's exactly what happened this morning at 8:03 London time. They received a call from a member of the public to say that they thought they'd seen him here in the Finsbury Park area. Police arrived at 8:19, and just a few moments later they found Kabatu, detained him.
2 men have been arrested over the theft of crown jewels from the Louvre last week. One suspect was detained as he tried to board a flight from Paris to Algeria. Chris Marinello is the CEO of Art Recovery International, which specialises in recovering stolen works of art.
There's really no chance that they would have been able to sell these over the last week intact, given the amount of press coverage. But broken up, they would have been able to sell the diamonds, recut the sapphires, and move them on if they had a plan in place.
The Liberal Democrats may try to force a debate in the Commons about Prince Andrew's links to the sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The senior Lib Dem MP Layla Moran says he should be compelled under oath to answer questions in Parliament. Prince Andrew has always denied doing anything wrong. And Hurricane Melissa is expected to strengthen to a Category 5 storm as it approaches Jamaica. Forecasters say it could become the strongest hurricane to hit the island since 1988.
Welcome to the Wayne Rooney Show.
It's your big birthday. This is a slightly special episode because we do want to celebrate your 40 years so far.
Talking about boxing for my wedding with Joe Calzaghe.
Yeah. You don't. Well, you know it's good. That's it.
He offers Joe Calzaghe out. He goes, all right, Joe, good to have you. Joe's just sort of stood there, easing. To the ribs.
I seen him, he was a bit vulnerable, he'd had a few drinks. I might give his first defeat. The Wayne Rooney Show. Listen on BBC Sounds.
This is 5 Live Sports with Steve Crossman.
Listen on BBC Sounds.
Half times then in the Premier League. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Second half commentary to come here on 5 Live. On 5 Sports Extra, Aston Villa lead Manchester City by a goal to 0. Bournemouth going second in the Premier League as it stands, a 2-0 up against Nottingham Forest. You'll get the second half of that on Sports Extra 2, and it'll be Sports Extra 3 after a brilliant first half at Molineux. Wolves were 2-0 down at the break. It is Wolves 2, Burnley 2. Already today, Hearts have gone 8 points clear of Celtic at the top of the Scottish Premiership. They beat the reigning champions 3-1 at Tynecastle. Here's Hearts boss Derek McInnes.
It's great to see the noise at the end, the way the supporters celebrated that. I thought we started the game brilliantly. The first 10 minutes or so, I thought we were really confident, really assured we were work, kept arriving time and time again, deliveries into the box, and we deservedly went in front. We then lose we knock off really, and Celtic reaction was we expect for them. There was an immediate reaction, but I think even from our point of togetherness, the team was clear, but we've got some really good technical players here to go with that, you know what I mean? And you've seen that with Kazarides' goal and Shankland's penalty again, 2 strikers combining and Lawrence tucks it away. 3-1 victory. I thought it was deserved. The belief and the confidence the players should take from that is good from my point of view. Not if we ever needed it, I think we're trusting each other how we work. But it is only 3 points. It's important that we try and just concentrate on the next game, which is St Mirren on Wednesday, which is difficult enough anytime you go to Paisley. So we've got a job in our hands on Wednesday, and hopefully we can apply ourselves in similar fashion. We get a good outcome.
Derek McInnes speaking to Gavin Wallace. The Danny Röhl Ibrox era is about to get underway. His first game in charge at that stadium, his first in the Scottish Premiership, 1 win all season. They face Kilmarnock. Kenny Crawford.
Yeah, Rangers fans' first real chance to run the rule over new head coach Danny Röhl. It's the German's first home game and first league game in charge, as you say, Steve. 8th place Rangers, 16 points behind leaders Hearts and 8 points behind Celtic. The home crowd demand evidence of improvement, although Röhl does stress that he's only had 1 training session since that defeat to Brann just after he'd been appointed. 4 changes to the starting 11 who lost to the Norwegians in the Europa League. Cornelius, Diomandi, Danilo and Majowski come in. As for 7th placed Kelly, Captain Brad Lyons returns in midfield and Jamie Brandon plays right wing back for Stuart Kettlewell's men. Kick off in a couple of minutes.
And 1 live score in the Scottish Premiership. Aberdeen 0, Hibs 0. Aberdeen second bottom of the table. Hibs are 5th at 4:30. Live commentary on Premier League Sunday. Have Everton against Tottenham. Spurs will go back into the top 4 with a win. Everton unbeaten at their new home. And it's a big day for Everton's new stadium as they welcome for the first time correspondent John Murray.
Yes, I'm not sure whether that should be getting top billing, but the fact is that I am here for the first time and I'm very much enjoying what I'm seeing.
Thoughts then?
Yeah, I tell you, outside the stadium, kind of inside, it's more or less what I was expecting because I've heard so much and seen so much about it. It's more the outside, really, and I have to confess, I am a bit of a stadium anorak, and I did follow the social media site that was the building of the stadium. So I've sort of seen how it's developed, but to come and see what they've done here, and the thing that you don't quite pick up from that is that it really does feel like there is a connection between this football club and the city it's in now. When you go to Goodison Park and when you go to Anfield, great experiences, but you don't necessarily feel that you experience the city. But here, when you walk around, the fact that it is an historic dock site, you are right next to the Mersey, and I always love a waterside stadium. But also, from standing outside the stadium, and all the various touches that they've done are very, very impressive. And you can see the Liver building from the concourse right outside the stadium. So yeah, a lot of boxes have been ticked for me outside the ground.
There is another... Sorry, go on, John.
I was just going to say, so let's see what happens inside.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say is there's another box to tick, which comes down to atmosphere and intimidation and all that kind of thing. And it feels particularly pertinent because Tottenham are the away side, and there's been a lot of discussion about their stadium being too comfortable to be in.
Yeah, and on the other side of that particular coin, Tottenham have got the best away record in the Premier League so far this season, so they come here with that. But at the Everton won here the last home match that they played against Crystal Palace. Jack Grealish scored the late goal. Of course, he couldn't play last time they were in action against his parent club, Manchester City. So Grealish comes back, having not been able to play and having scored that goal here. And David Moyes actually references in the programme how Oliver Glasner said to him after the match that he was struck by the atmosphere inside this stadium when Everton scored that late goal. So clearly they are building something inside the ground as well.
Yeah, one very nice bit of trivia that I was told ahead of the first game there, which I was lucky enough to go to by our good friend Leon Osman, which says a lot about what they're trying to do with the stadium. So the legal limit for the steepness of a football stadium is 35 degrees exactly, 35.0. Do you want to have a guess what the Everton steepness is, John?
34.9.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, well, there we are. Yeah.
But it does work, doesn't it? I mean, you can. I mean, it's a heck of a climb as well.
It is a climb, although on a par with other climbs. But you do feel close, and it is where we are sitting here. I'm looking down and across just to the left of the halfway line, and it does feel as though you are not in the gods like you feel in certain other stadiums. So that's good. And we're virtually, up near the very back of the stand where I'm sitting here.
And there's lots of interesting team news things that we'll pick out when we get it. But, Richarlison will give it a bit of edge, I'm sure. No Romero for Tottenham. We know that, don't we?
Yeah, that's right. They've got quite a lengthy injury list, actually, at the moment, Tottenham. Kulusevski, of course, is a big miss this season, not being able to play. Whereas, as I say, Grealish is going to be back for Everton. And we'll just have to see what Thomas Frank does in terms of changing things around after their trip to Monte Carlo in the week.
Thank you very much, John. That's correspondent John Murray, who will have Sue Smith alongside him for full commentary of Everton-Tottenham, 4:30 here on 5 Live. Another quick reminder then for where you need to go now if you want one of the other Premier League games. Remember, if you stay with us here on 5 Live, you will get all of the live updates with the goals and the big chances as they happen. But if you just want to listen to Villa Man City, 5 Sports Extra, Bournemouth Forest Sports Extra 2, Wolves Burnley Sports Extra 3. Our focus is on the Emirates. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Joby McAnuff and John Akers.
Thank you, Steve. A change for Arsenal at half-time, leading by a goal to 0, but a problem potentially for William Saliba, who's gone off at half-time, replaced by Christian Mosquera, as Palace get us underway for the second half and knock it back to Dean Henderson, kicking from left to right as we look at it, towards the clock end, the south stand, and Mateta wrestling with Calafiori, and it rolls out for an Arsenal throw on the left-hand side. Joby McAnuff, must be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, all the sort of speculation was around Gabriel, wasn't it, before the game, and whether he'd be fit. He obviously came through it, and I've got to say, Mateta's given Saliba a real tough first 45 minutes, really physical, probably won the duels at times, really, but I've got to say I've been really impressed by Mosquera and what I've seen of him so far. I think that is one of the big differences with Arsenal this season, that the next one in line almost, the deputies, I think that level has gone up, and they certainly have coped with the absence of one or two of those at times this season a lot better than they have done in previous years, so fully expect him to just come in and slot in.
Whoops, missed kick left-footed by Gabriel on a clearance, but he got another go at it with company from Mateta and managed to clear away. So Mosquera into the centre of Arsenal's defence. And Joby McAnuff making the point that this season they are stronger in that second string, if you like. As the ball's out for a throw-in to Arsenal, left-hand side near the halfway line, right in front of Oliver Glasner. Oliver Glasner with his partial Arsene Wenger coat on, just down above his knee, clapping his hands, white trainers on, telling everyone where to make runs as Calafiori knocks it back to Gabriel, who clears long. Wharton brings it down and knocks it to Lacroix. Arsenal 1-0 up, and they clear away through Gabriel. Straight ball. Gyökeres is after it, but Palace will tidy up. Back to Dean Henderson. He's under a little bit of pressure, clears right-footed. It's a really good clearance from Dean Henderson. He was slightly off balance, and a first touch for the substitute Christian Mosquera. Clears down the line, and Palace are in possession with Wharton just inside his own half. Chips the ball forward down the left-hand side, looking for the run of Sarr, but it's tidied up, cleared away by Raya. Flicked header one by Rice. Richards miss kicks, skews it up in the air. Gyökeres wins a header straight up. Richards and Trossard battling for the ball, and Richards wins the header. It's a loose pass from Palace, and Eza in possession, the goal scorer for Arsenal. He puts the ball out to Saka on the right. Had no room whatsoever in the first half. Bukayo Saka had a little bit of room there, knocked it back to Timber. Arsenal in possession. Midway inside the Palace half. Eza back to goal, centre field. Wharton straight on his back, straight at his heels, and Arsenal will knock it all the way back to Gabriel, and we'll get an update from Bournemouth Forest. Andy Stevenson.
Bournemouth lead Forest 2-0. We've had a triple substitution from Sean Dyche at half-time, which might give a window into his mood. Tayo Awoniyi, Omari Hutchinson and club captain Ryan Yates thrown on in place of Jesus, Hudson-Odoi and Douglas Luiz. Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Arsenal in possession on the halfway line. Gyökeres now spins, turns Richards. Good run from Gyökeres. On the right hand side it's Saka, who's up against Tyrick Mitchell. Lays a ball inside. Zubamendi, good play this from Arsenal. Calafiori now on the left after the switch, and now Trossard, and Calafiori's gone on the overlap. He can cross left-footed, decides to check back, shouts for handball, and given by the referee Tom Bramall. It was while he was on the ground there, I think, and it was Munoz, and it will be a free kick for Arsenal on the byline just outside the penalty area.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit unfortunate there. Munoz, he goes to ground expecting Calafiori to cross the ball. He actually chops back, and he's already committed himself to the challenge. He's on the floor, like you say, and it almost just rolls alongside his arm. So it certainly was a free kick. But again, another position here, you know, we're talking pretty much on the byline, but just in line with that 18-yard area. Will be an in-swinger this time from Declan Rice. Not the easiest place to deliver from, I've got to say. Probably a delicate touch, probably flip one up to the back post possibly.
He hasn't got a lot of room as Arsenal gather and chat. 6 of their red shirts at the far post, just outside the 6-yard box, and Palace are in a zone. And Rice waits and goes short. Eza, edge of the penalty area, back to Rice. It's on his left foot. He dinks it in. Header from Gabriel, hits the crossbar, and now falls for Rice. Saved by Henderson. Another shot from Arsenal blocked. They almost scored again. That would have been 12 set-piece goals this season. It's with Saka, who hits one left-footed, and it's lashed wide. And Henderson's right-hand post wouldn't have got there. Got to say, that was a brilliant save from Dean Henderson in the middle of all that.
Yeah, and a fantastic passage of play. They're so inventive with their set pieces. Everyone's thinking Rice is going to flip one to the back post, plays it short to the edge of the box, gets it back, dinks it over with his left foot. Gabriel comes, crashes a header against the bar, but then in the following melee, there's a shot comes in. Henderson makes a brilliant save. Next phase of play goes out to Saka, who then, something we're really accustomed to, comes in on that left-hand side, trying to bend one into the far post, not far at all. Palace just about survived that.
Well, Gabriel scored one this season, so close to finding another. And Gabriel, header off the crossbar, I know will have had lots of FPL fantasy football players jumping out of their seats wherever they are. And you can listen to the BBC Sport Fantasy Football Podcast every week with Chris Sutton, Statman Dave and Alistair Bruce Ball. Subscribe to it on Sounds, it's really good. Palace clear the ball up towards halfway to Sarr. Nice touch, still got the ball, Sarr. Tries to find Munoz. Calafiori snaps in. Palace still got it. Mateta gives it away and then gets it back. And a couple of little step overs just near the halfway line, and Palace have possession with Wharton. Halfway line, he's pushed to the ground by Gyökeres and springs back up. Palace play the ball out to the right. It's under hit towards Mitchell. Saka has possession. Right hand side, Saka twisting, turning, very, very nice, but there's two players around him and he loses possession. Palace play a long ball towards Sarr, and Gabriel comes across and clears it out for a throw in left hand side. 52 minutes of the game gone on 5 Live and BBC Sounds, and it's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0.
Yeah, just looking back at that bit of a melee in the box after Gabriel has the header, it falls back to Declan Rice, who takes a shot. He's about 6-7 yards out, catches it really well on the volley, and I've got to say the footwork from Dean Henderson to scramble across and get a save in was absolutely magnificent. Really important little period of the game it feels now for Crystal Palace, just to get a little bit of composure. Just looked a little bit ragged the last 5 minutes or so, which is in complete contrast to the control that they had almost without the ball at times in the first half. So again, big 5-10 minutes just to steady the ship a little bit, make sure they don't concede another one, because then with Arsenal's defensive record would be too much of a mountain to climb.
More Premier League matches than anyone else, more Premier League commentaries than anyone else. 5 Live from the BBC, and a special afternoon where all 5 of this afternoon's Premier League matches you have a listening choice. So this game on 5 Live is Palace in possession with Munoz, who chips the ball up in the air. Wharton wins a header. Arsenal win it back inside the Palace half and then give it away, and Kamara picks up possession. Kamada rather. And now it's with Pino. Lovely little ball round the corner, and maybe Sarr is away here for Palace. He's midway inside the Arsenal half with Saka with him, and Saka gets a little foot to it, really important foot to it, and it ricochets back to the substitute on a half-time, Mosquera, who now clears right-footed. Kamada wins a header in midfield for Palace. Timber fighting for the ball finds Rice, and now a bit of space for Calafiori midway inside the Arsenal half on the left-hand side. Trossard turns in his own half, doesn't know where to go with it, so he's forced to go all the way back to Gabriel, and then Mosquera. Wolves 2-2 Burnley, good game that's on Sports Extra 3, and we'll have updates from Charlie Slater. Sports Extra 2, Bournemouth still going really strong. Andy Stevenson will bring us updates, and that's on Sports Extra 2, and we've got Aston Villa versus Manchester City, and that's on Sports Extra. Everton Spurs still to come. Top of the league, Arsenal, and with Manchester City a goal down, we will open up a gap between them and City. This is a massive 35 minutes plus added time for Arsenal and Manchester City, and you feel, even though it's only early, the Premier League season, Joby McAnuff.
Well, I think if Arsenal go and win this, and Man City don't get what they need elsewhere, it's a big gap at this stage. You just can't see Arsenal losing too many games at all. You can't see him conceding, let alone losing a game at the moment.
It will be 6 points the gap as Gyökeres twisting and turning, really good feet into the penalty area. Now Trossard on the left hand side, 4 to aim for in the middle. Good defending from Crystal Palace, but Calafiori's done a great job to win it back in their right back spot, Palace, and now they switch the play with Mosquera out to the right hand side. Timber, lovely feet, drifts inside, very good from Timber, but then just overhit it, showed too much of it to the defender, and Palace will bring the ball away, and Eze was just strong there, and I think it's a soft one. Tom Bramwell gives the free kick. I just thought he was being strong, Eze. Goal scorer, free kick Palace.
Yeah, and a bit unlucky there possibly, but going back to Calafiori and the impact he's made as well this season, and why I think this is so important even at this stage of the season, because just the strength, I don't see any weaknesses, not just in the starting 11 for Arsenal, but also in the squad. They've still got players to come back, Havertz of course, Odegaard, and again the deputies as I call them at the moment. Lewis Skelly was magnificent in midweek.
Saka has got possession and a bit of space and threads the ball towards Gyökeres, and Lacroix read it really, really well and intercepted because he needed to, and put the ball out for a throw-in on the right-hand side for Arsenal. 10 yards inside the Palace half. Game looks a little more open. It was very cagey first half hour. There wasn't a shot in the first half hour from either side. Trossard, level with the 18-yard box, left-hand touchline, is forced back because he's got Sarr and Munoz around him, and goes back in to a walking Zubamendi, who's just standing with the ball at his feet. Lip of the centre circle, Gabriel, orange boots, plays a pass, retreats backwards. Saka to Eze on the right-hand side, and now to Trossard again on the left. Rice has made a run ahead of him in towards Gyökeres. Rice, Trossard, good football from Arsenal. And Palace snapping at their heels with every pass that's played and every dribble that's made. Arsenal with Gabriel midway inside the Palace half. Now Rice, forward pass, backward pass to Calafiori, backward to Gabriel. Arsenal being willed on. That's a good looking ball. Lovely first touch from Trossard. Now square ball. Saka running in and cleared away. Brilliant from Guéhi to clear the ball in front of Saka. Brilliant defending. And that's probably the best football we've seen so far from Arsenal in open play.
Yeah, completely different feel in this second half. And where Arsenal are keeping the ball, it is in that final third. Palace have been pinned in, but that time the movement is a brilliant run from Trossard, who was the one who's going to make that run in behind, takes a touch towards the goal, squares the ball. It feels as though Saka's going to come in and finish it on the back post, but brilliant recovery from Marc Guéhi just to get in ahead of Saka and nick the ball out.
Some clearance, that could have been it. Throw in on the far side. It's going to be a long throw from Declan Rice. 6-7 now, Arsenal players in the Palace penalty area. In it comes, high, flicked up in the air. Timber wins a second header. Richards cleared with a header cleared, and then Adam Wharton just hoofs it downfield. Raya takes a touch, boots it back to the right-hand side, and it's out of play. Goal, Rangers Kilmarnock, Kenny Crawford.
13 minutes gone, it's Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 0. Free kick by James Tavernier about 30 yards out, and Derek Cornelius, the defender on loan from Marseille, got his head on it past the young goalkeeper Eddie Beach into the bottom left-hand corner. It's Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 0.
Eddie Nketiah comes on against his former club and gets a warm round of applause from the Arsenal fans here. So Nketiah is on the pitch and Pino makes way, and Arsenal are in possession. Bit of space for Calafiori. He just under hits a pass to Trossard, but he has got there. He's 10 yards inside his own half. Trossard, and now back to Zubamendi, and we'll go for an update. Aston Villa, Manchester City, Aaron Paul.
Villa 1, Manchester City 0. As ever, City starting fast, but it's Villa who've had the best opportunity in the second half. John McGinn catching a volley very, very sweetly, edge of the D, really well defended by one of the City defenders. It looked like Ruben Diaz, but Pep Guardiola's side somewhat on the ropes. Every time Villa go forward, they look dangerous, and the City manager is about to introduce Nico O'Reilly and Nico Gonzalez to try and change this up. 1-0 Villa lead.
Arsenal coming forward with Rice, and it's cleared out of play by Lacroix for a throw-in to Arsenal by the corner flag on the left-hand side. And while they go across to take that throw, we'll get an update from Bournemouth Forest, Andy Stevenson.
Still 2-0 to Bournemouth. Forest have looked a bit better in this second half, but that's not saying a great deal. Bournemouth look pretty comfortable. Did let a 2-goal lead slip at Palace last weekend, remember. It is Bournemouth 2, Nottingham Forest 0.
Long throw for Arsenal from Calafiori. In it comes, bounces, Saka. Ooh, was he having his shirt pulled? He thinks he was, and so did the fans. Referee says no. Eze picks it up, back to goal, midway inside the Palace half, with a good run and a ball out to the right, but Saka can't control it. Palace have won the ball back, and I imagine VAR would have a little look at that. It wasn't a massive demonstration from Saka, to be fair, was it?
No, I didn't think there was enough in there. There's obviously going to be a bit of contact from time to time in the box, but definitely not enough. I think it was Kamada, wasn't it, who was nearest, or was it Mitchell possibly?
Quick free kick from Arsenal. Eze to Saka, and now Gyökeres can't get hold of that one, and it's cleared away by Henderson. It's a good challenge coming in from Zubamendi, And now they've got some space here. Palace, Eddie Nketiah with his black gloves on, sprints away down the left-hand side. He's got Mateta there with him. Mateta's barely had a touch in this second half so far. Now it's with Kamada, who's got some space, running forward. Kamada, 30 yards from goal. Wharton, poor ball. Arsenal have got possession back, midway inside their own half with Saka, who switches the play to Trossard, and Trossard has got some green grass ahead of him. Away goes Trossard down the left-hand side. He's got 3 up with him to the edge of the penalty area. Trossard square towards Gyökeres, intercepted, cleared away. There's lots more space now, and Arsenal are in some of it with Calafiori on the left. Checks back with his ponytail bouncing on his shoulders. Arsenal top of the league, looking to put some distance between themselves and Manchester City. Crowd urging them on, in possession on the halfway line with Gabriel. Let's get an update from Wolves-Burnley. Super first half. Charlie Slater.
Good start to the second half as well. 58 on the clock. It's still Wolves 2, Burnley 2. Burnley look dangerous every time they come forward, particularly Zian Fleming, who's on a hat-trick. 2-2.
Arsenal in possession on the halfway line, going backwards with Rice towards Mosquera, and we've had a big chance. Villa Man City, Aaron Paul.
It's come for Savinho, first shot blocked left side of the area, drilled it back in second time, hooked off the line by Pau Torres. Villa holding on for this moment. Villa 1, Manchester City 0.
Trossard on the left, overlapping Gyökeres into the penalty area left hand side. Good defending again from Lacroix. The 2 centre-backs from Crystal Palace have been absolutely exceptional. They've won a corner. Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, again, Gyökeres looking really, really dangerous. Again, wanting to run in to that space in behind that Crystal Palace defence. But again, Lacroix was equal to it, but they seem to be just clinging on a little bit at the moment, don't they? They're straining to match those runs. They're just a little bit, a yard or 2 off where they were in that first half. Of course, a bit of fatigue comes into it, but Arsenal definitely stepped it up in this second half.
27 minutes plus added time remaining. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. It's a corner for Arsenal. They've scored 7 from corners so far this season, but he's duffed it, Declan Rice, after all that, and it's cleared away by Palace. Back in by Zubamendi, headed away again by Palace. Saka just lets it flick off the top of his head, and Zubamendi will go all the way back to David Raya. And our game later is the one at Everton against Spurs, and John Murray will be there with Sue Smith, and John Murray's got the team news.
And as expected, just the one change for Everton. Jack Grealish is back into the starting lineup. Alcaraz is a substitute. Spurs make 4 changes from the Champions League in Monaco. There is a first start for the club for Randall Kolo Muani. Richarlison is only on the bench against his former club. Brennan Johnson's also in the team, as are Simons and Spence, with Odegaard, Bergvall and Gray dropping to the bench, and Matisse Tell is also among the subs.
Thank you, John. Crystal Palace are in possession midway inside their own half, centre field with Lacroix. 26 minutes plus added time left. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Every game in the Premier League this afternoon is live on 5 Live from the BBC, and we're on Sounds with this one, and I think we're going to get a decent last half hour, Joby McAnuff, because Palace have got to have a go now, and we know they've got attacking threat out there on the pitch.
Yeah, obviously Nketiah coming on, he's playing really, really narrow, just trying to get alongside Mateta at times. I think he'll try and work off of him, but again, I think Palace haven't quite gone up to Mateta enough in this second half. They were at times going up quite early, but he was winning his battles. They got success, and they were able to get themselves up the pitch. Haven't quite been able to do that to the same degree in this second half.
Well, Gabriel Martinelli's coming on here, and I just presumed it would be Trossard going off, but it's not. It's Bukayo Saka who takes off the captain's armband and hands it to Gabriel. What are your thoughts on that change?
Well, again, you would assume the obvious replacement would be Trossard, but maybe a bit of management with Saka. Walking off a little bit gingerly, but doesn't look like he's injured. Obviously did have that layoff, so really important to manage his minutes and make sure that he stays as fresh as he can. And obviously Martinelli's been in fantastic form himself, a resurgence, one that he really needed. And again, I think he'll fancy himself coming on today and having an impact.
Well, when Martinelli scores, Arsenal don't lose. 38 times he scored for Arsenal, they've never lost. He's on. And Palace have possession just inside the Arsenal half, centre field. Richards to Munoz. Will drag back from the Colombian, and he just doesn't get his pass right, and he looks to the heavens and slaps his hands together. Talk about low socks. Munoz got to be lowest. Lower than Tyler Dibling. Do you remember his from last season in the Premier League with Southampton? They are low, aren't they? They're almost invisible.
There's definitely no shin pads down there, I can tell you that much. If they are micro to the extreme. I'm not a fan of the look, I've got to say, but that's probably me showing my age a little bit.
Header won by Palace. Mateta might get a touch. He doesn't. I'm not sure how often he's touched the ball in the second half. Mateta, the point you were making is Timber slides a ball through, some space. Martinelli first touch in the penalty area, right hand side, low ball towards Gyökeres. It's intercepted by Richards. Martinelli wins it back though. Good pace from him. He's got Timber on the outside of him. There's more space here for Arsenal than there has been in the whole game so far. They lead by a goal to nil. 23 minutes plus added time remaining on 5 Live. Chipped into the penalty area. Gyökeres chests it down. Across comes Lacroix again. Been exceptional, but it's a corner for Arsenal. Can they get the delivery right?
Well, we had a very rare example of a poor Declan Rice corner last time round, not something we see very often, so I was certainly backing him to find the quality that he normally does. Again, Arsenal players congregating towards the back end of that far post area, normally come up with something, don't they? So we'll have a look now.
The gap as it stands is 6 points to Manchester City. Left arm in the air from Rice. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger. In it comes to the far post. Header goes in and it's wide. It rippled the side netting, and that's why you heard the cheer. I think the referee's given a free kick anyway. Bodies everywhere in the penalty area, lying on the ground. But this is going to be a Crystal Palace ball. We've had a ball hit the crossbar in the game between Wolves and Burnley. Charlie Slater.
A wonderful curling 22-yard free kick from Wolves winger John Arias hits the corner of the crossbar where it meets the post. It was a brilliant effort. Keeper was beaten. It's still 2-2.
Just watching the replay, Gabriel has absolutely clattered the post. He's come in for a header. It's actually hit him on the arm from the corner, Joby, and he's collided with the post. We saw Ollie Watkins in the England game come off worse. He is back up, but he is holding, well, let's just say,
the crown jewels,
his unmentionables, his private kingdom. But he's back up. He doesn't look all right, to be fair. He looks in a lot of pain. That is a grimace and not a smile.
Yeah, they hurt, I can assure you of that, John. But listen, the aggression, the delivery was fantastic, as we do come to expect from Declan Rice, but just the aggression to want to go and win the ball, full pelt, absolute top speed.
Mateta, Palace on the break, Munoz on the right, cross in, looking for the leap of Eddie Nketiah, but Raya does well and claims it at the second time of asking, and then clears long downfield and finds Gyökeres, but his touch just lets him down, and it's going to be shepherded out of play, is it? No, Lacroix has to turn away and put it out for a throw-in near the corner flag, right-hand side for Arsenal, who lead 1-0. We're approaching 20 minutes plus added time remaining.
Yeah, much better from Crystal Palace. That's what they did in the first half. Break quickly up to Mateta. He holds it up, lays one into Munoz down on the right-hand side. He's just trying to whip a ball in, and Nketiah actually does really well, tries to get across David Raya, but Raya ends up coming out with the ball. But that is what they're going to have to do. It's going to be tough. 20 minutes to go. They will be feeling it. That fatigue definitely is in those Crystal Palace legs, but that is the way they're going to have to try and get themselves back into this game.
Arsenal are 4 points clear of Bournemouth as it stands, with Bournemouth 2-0 up against Nottingham Forest. Rice picks the ball off the cone and takes this long throw, flicked away, comes for Calafiori, who strikes it off the thigh of Munoz. Arsenal have got possession corner of the penalty area with Calafiori, Trossard, Eza, Trossard again. Trossard still in possession with really good dancing feet from the 30-year-old Belgian. He's got 2 men around him, little back heel, and that should be comfortable for Munoz to shepherd it out, and it'll be a goal kick for Crystal Palace. Villa are still 1-0 up against Manchester City. Matty Cash with a brilliant strike in the first half. 2-2 between Wolves and Burnley, as you were hearing from Charlie. 2 goals late in the first half for Wolves after they were 2-0 down. Fleming scored both for Burnley. And here Arsenal leading by a goal from who else against his former club. What a time to score your first Premier League goal for Arsenal from Eberechi Eze. As Palace come forward into the feet of Eddie Nketiah, who was in loads of space, and his first touch just let him down, but it is out for a Palace throw near the corner flag in front of their own fans on the left.
Yeah, it's a really poor touch from Nketiah. I've got to say, Tyreek Mitchell does brilliant. He wraps one into him just on the edge of the 18-yard box. If he has half of a decent touch, he's got an opportunity to maybe get a shot off, but the ball fires away from him, out of danger. But they do have a throw in now, Crystal Palace.
Richards goes across to take it in front of those Palace fans. He's going to take 3 steps and then launch it in there. They've got 6 in the penalty area here, Palace. In it comes. It's a good looking throw. Gabriel kind of wins it. I think it just sort of hits him maybe in the chin and just bounces down for Raya, who rolls it out for Rice. It was just ahead of him, but sliding. He plays the ball downfield and then turns back to Raya and says, what was that? It was just ahead of him, and it was almost one of those kind of hospital passes, and I think that's why he turned round to his goalkeeper.
Yeah, a little bit over-eager there from David Raya. There's no need for Arsenal to rush. Yes, they want to kill the game off, but don't get yourselves into a situation of putting yourself under pressure when it's not necessary.
Rice wins a header forward towards Trossard. Richards tidies up. Just getting a little bit of purchase here at Crystal Palace as Guéhi plays a straight ball forward. I'm not sure that's how they're going to unlock this Arsenal defence, with that straight ball, which they've done a couple of times today, and Arsenal deal with it, and it's out for a throw-in. And Will Hughes is going to come on here for Crystal Palace. His white hair, the most easily recognisable of players in the Premier League, wearing 19, and Kamada is going to come off, and that's like for like central midfield, just some legs.
Yeah, he'll go and slot in there, and again I think that is exactly probably what Crystal Palace need at this moment in time. Bit of energy, bit of an injection in that midfield area, because as I said, they are going to have to, when they do win the ball, break at pace and break quickly.
We've got the Mexico Grand Prix for you later, by the way. It's at 7:45 on 5 Live, and BBC Sounds with Harry Benjamin as the ball's played forward by Arsenal, looking for Gyökeres. Blaise Lacroix to clear it away, and a foul by Timber, and it's a free kick for Palace on the halfway line. Robbie and Chris here with 6:06 at 6:30 as well. 08085 909 693 if you'd like to book your call for 6:06 later on. It is very early, but there'll be plenty to talk about, I would have thought, after the game between Everton and Spurs, as Palace play a ball into the box, header back across goal, but it's easily dealt with by Raya. It's in lots of space there, wasn't he, Tyreek Mitchell?
Yeah, they've had 1 or 2 situations that they need to be doing better than they have done. Again, worked it really well. Little switch out to Mitchell, and just a really disappointing header.
Lovely ball from Hughes with his first touch. Mateta's touch lets him down, and he's absolutely furious with himself as his pass out to the left-hand side is intercepted, and Lacroix is tangling with Gyökeres, and it's out for a throw-in to Palace on their left, and it's 1-0, and we've got close to 15 minutes remaining.
Manager's getting very, very animated. Mikel Arteta, I think, wants to have a little bit more control. They started the second half so well and looked as though they were going to go and get that second goal, which you'd feel would kill the game off, but they've just lost it a little bit in the last sort of 5-10 minutes. Palace have come back into the game, so Glasner's now really urging his players forward.
Bit of space for Palace with Munoz on the right. He has to go and collect it. He's midway inside the Arsenal half. Sarr challenged by Rice. Arsenal have possession, cleared away hurriedly. Richards, and now Lacroix. More space than they've had in the game so far for Crystal Palace, who are being more adventurous, as you'd imagine, with 15 minutes plus added time remaining when you're trailing by a goal to nil. Still yet to test David Raya in the game so far. Will Hughes, Lacroix, And now Richards, and we'll go for an update. Villa Man City, Aaron Paul.
Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Unai Emery just making some changes because City have dominated the past 5 or 7 minutes or so. Absolutely swarming Villa on the press with their passing. Erling Haaland's had a chance. Phil Foden at the byline, lofting it into the middle. Haaland with a tame header, easily saved by Emi Martinez. 1-0 Villa lead.
The gap still 6 points then, as it stands between Arsenal and Manchester City in the Premier League table. But this is about as threatening as Palace have looked so far in the game. Munoz wins a header. Sarr chests it down edge of the area, tries to whip it back in towards Mateta, and Raya comes out and claims it. Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, Daniel Munoz takes a bit of a whack. The ball gets switched over. It's a long pass out by Guéhi. Goes up for the challenge, actually wins the header against Calafiori. Heads it into the box. Mateta can't then gather it and get it under control. He's just down at the moment. Puts so much into a 90 minutes. Munoz up and down that line, full of energy, full of intensity. Seems to be getting to his feet now though, and is fine to carry on.
So a little chat just going on between Gabriel and David Raya, and there's plenty of Gallic shrugs and gestures and arms out to the side, and Oliver Glasner is arms folded in conversation in his puffer jacket. Can Palace find a shot on target against this Arsenal back line? Got Eddie Nketiah out there with Mateta now, and Sarr as well. And Arsenal are in possession in their own penalty area. 13 minutes plus added time remaining with Raya, who goes long, planted it up towards Timber, who wins the header inside towards Martinelli, but Palace have won it back again. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Bournemouth 2-0 against Nottingham Forest. They're second in the table as it stands. Aston Villa, as you've just heard, 1-0 up against Manchester City as Henderson is forced to rush a clearance from the edge of his 6-yard box, and Arsenal come up with possession on the halfway line with Zubamendi. He's overhit that though towards Trossard, and the subs down there in their high vis gather that, and it's a throw in for Palace.
Yeah, just summed Arsenal up in this last 10 minutes or so. A bit sloppy with the ball. I think they need to find a way just to control the game and settle it down. They've got themselves in such a good position, but after that first 20 minutes or so of the second half, they haven't really kicked on to kill the game off. And I think
mistake, and here's Gyökeres, edge of the area. Good tracking back by Guéhi again. It's been brilliant, Mark Guéhi, and the captain manages to get it back to his goalkeeper and then receives it back. Joby.
Yeah, just got a little whiff of a chance there, Gyökeres, didn't he? He's been really well marshalled today, I've got to say, by Lacroix and by Guéhi. Just sort of looked as though he's going to be able to get himself in on goal, but as has been the case all afternoon, Guéhi comes across and covers superbly well.
Zubamendi is challenged, and now Palace might go on the break, and here goes Nketiah round the outside, puts the ball into the penalty area, and getting there first is Gabriel ahead of Mateta. It's been given as a corner, and Gabriel is absolutely furious about it. He thought that it came off Mateta last. Either way, it's a corner in front of the Palace fans.
Yeah, Nketiah has given him a boost, I must say, since he's come on. Again, that ability to go and run in behind does really well. Knocks it past Mosquera into the box, tries to whip one across the 6-yard box. Mateta looks as though he's favourite to get there, gets a shot in, but ends up ricocheting off of Gabriel off for a corner.
Very difficult to see on the replay I've seen whether it did come off Mateta or Gabriel last. Not seen the right angle yet to have a good look at it, but it's Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0, and we're in the 80th minute. In comes the left-footed corner from Palace. Header won by Guéhi, but it's over the crossbar. It was looping, it was always going over, and it's a goal kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, difficult chance for him. Will Hughes it is with the out swing up, whips it in just in between that 6-yard box and penalty spot, but he's got to do a lot of work to head it back towards that far post, and unfortunately for Mark Guéhi, he can't quite get on top of the ball enough and sees it go over the crossbar.
We've got Declan Rice down on the deck here. I didn't see what happened to him, but he looks like he's got a problem maybe with his ankle. He's holding his right ankle, Declan Rice, sitting on the turf inside the penalty area at the moment. Did you see what happened to him?
No, I didn't. There was obviously a bit of a melee in the box from that corner, maybe a bit of contact, but say he doesn't look overly comfortable at the moment. Physio on with him. Been such an important player in that midfield for them. Again, probably one of those really important figures that they would really miss him, but they have got cover and depth to come on should he need to be replaced.
3 without a win, Palace. We've got Liverpool away in the EFL Cup in midweek, then Brentford at home, then AZ Alkmaar. They did their jobs brilliantly for the first half an hour, as Declan Rice is still receiving treatment down on the ground here inside the penalty area. Did their jobs brilliantly for half an hour without the ball, restricted Arsenal, who didn't have a shot on target. Their XG was 0.00 for the first, I think it was 32 minutes of the game. Then that flying crane kick, Karate Kid style, from Eberechi Eze, following a free kick from the right-hand side, which was only partially cleared. It was a brilliant volley, and you'll be able to see it tonight on Match of the Day with Kelly Cates, Theo Walcott, Danny Murphy. It's BBC One, 10:30 tonight. Still to come on 5 Live, the Mexico Grand Prix, Harry Benjamin, 7:45. We are going to see Declan Rice come off here with a problem. This is going to be a double change. So Calafiori coming off. And there we go. As you've just heard, a warm welcome. It'll be interesting to see how he goes on.
Yeah, coming on literally to replace Calafiori at left back, Hincapié, and then you've got Marino obviously just coming in and sitting. I think he'll be maybe a little bit deeper than Declan Rice is playing, maybe alongside Zubimendi. Again, another big threat from set pieces. Chipped in with some real vital goals at times, hasn't he, Mikel Merino?
So Hincapié comes on, and his Premier League debut. And we've got a goal at Rangers against Kilmarnock. Kenny Crawford.
The hosts thought it was going to plan, but it's now Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 1, 39 minutes gone, and it's George Stanger, the defender. The corner came over from Greg Kelty, eluded everyone, and he was hanging about at the back post just to turn it in from 2 yards. The New Zealand international, son of rugby player Tony Stanger, in fact. Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 1.
Long ball forward from Arsenal towards Gyökeres, but it's dealt with by Lacroix. And now on the left, here's Tyrick Mitchell, who's driving forward. He's now midway inside the Arsenal half. Now on his left-hand side, he's got Nketiah with him. There are 3 in the middle waiting for a cross here. Corner of the penalty area. Up against Timber, who's done really well. Stuck to his job excellently and draws the foul. Great defending from Jurrien Timber.
Yeah, but again, a disappointing outcome from what should have been a really positive situation for Crystal Palace. Eddie Nketiah, all he's got to do really is just shift it onto his right. You've got Mateta in the box, Saad made the box, Munoz, as he always does, making that back post area, and he just never really makes a decision. I think he allows Timber to really dictate what he wanted him to do, and just stood up, didn't dive in, ends up taking the ball away.
And Hincapié is just the Ecuadorian, signed from Leverkusen, has just slotted in to left back. Calafiori had a good game. Sarr is on the halfway line for Palace and tries to poke a ball through towards Nketiah, but it's overhit. Ball through to Raya. Raya right-footed, clears down the line. Good first touch from Martinelli, but has the ball taken off him. Nketiah running away from goal, back towards his own goal, manages to find Mitchell, and then Nketiah again, and good football this from Crystal Palace. And we've got 6 minutes plus added time left, with Arsenal leading by a goal to 0, and feeling like the crowd need to give them a lift and a boost. And Mikel Arteta is literally on the halfway line, way outside his technical area, shouting instructions, organising Arsenal without the ball, because Palace have certainly had some good possession in this last 10 minutes as Wharton tries to play a ball through. They've got it. Munoz on the right for Palace. In comes a cross, only partially cleared by Arsenal. Out for a throw-in. Does it go out? Yes, it does. Throw-in midway inside the Arsenal half on the right, and Nketiah can't keep it in. And Richards will have this throw-in on the right. 5 minutes plus added time remaining. Arsenal top of the league leading. Aston Villa still 1-0 up against Manchester City. AFC Bournemouth are second. They're 2-0 up against Forest. Richards is going to take this long throw for Palace, with Oliver Glasner literally right next to him, barking instructions. In it comes from Richards with hardly any run-up. High, headed away by Arsenal. Eze, the goal scorer, can't get hold of it. Picked up by Guéhi. on the corner of the penalty area. Comes off Timber. Throw in for Palace on the far side. Goal at Rangers. Kenny Crawford.
And the hosts back in front, but totally self-inflicted by Kilmarnock. It's Rangers 2, Kilmarnock 1. Eddie Beach, the young goalkeeper, formerly of Chelsea, made an absolute hash of the clearance, rebounded back off one of his players, and Bojan Majowski just had to head it in from 4 yards out. It's Rangers 2, Kilmarnock 1.
It's going to be another long throw for Crystal Palace in front of their own supporters. Can they leave it late again, as they did against Bournemouth, to force a draw? In comes the long throw. Gabriel at the near post, kind of hits him in the chin again, and cleared away hurriedly by Leandro Trossard. And now they're in possession with Gyökeres on the halfway line, done brilliantly to hold it up. Ball down the line, searching out Gyökeres again on the left-hand side. Marino, who's on as a substitute, plays the ball towards Gyökeres, but overhits it, and it's out for a throw-in, and Mikel Arteta is absolutely fuming. Let's go to Wolves-Burnley. Charlie Slater.
This game is crying out for a winning goal. 83 minutes on the clock. It's Wolves 2, Burnley 2. Wolves are really cranking up the pressure now, and Jean-Rickner Bellegarde has just stung the palms of Martin Dubravka a moment ago with a brilliant volley. It's 2-2.
Eberechi Eze is coming off. The goal scorer didn't celebrate against his former club. It was a brilliant volley, fantastic, and wouldn't you just know it, his first Premier League goal for Arsenal comes against Palace. What have you made of his performance, Joby McAnuff?
Well, it was an interesting one, because I don't think he really settled into the game particularly well, and the fact that he took that chance so well, you know, is a huge credit to him, really. Just at the right time, found the right finish, and it was a difficult one, and ultimately at the moment has had the moment that looks to be the one that's going to be the deciding moment of the match.
Palace wanted a free kick twice there for a foul on Mateta and Sarr, but the referee gave neither. It was Gabriel, who certainly had his arms round Mateta. I can see why they wanted it, Joby.
Yeah, I felt it was a foul. He doesn't get that one right at all. Gabriel Mateta just used his body just to shield the ball from him, and Gabriel, aggressive as he is, trying to almost come through the back of him, wraps him up and doesn't get any of the ball, so get away with one there.
So we've seen David Raya make a save as Lewis Skelly, who's on as a substitute, comes off a Palace player, his ball through, and goes behind for an Arsenal corner. We know how dangerous they are from these, and while we wait for this corner, let's go to Rangers Kilmarnock. Kenny Crawford.
And it's back to 1-1 because that goal was checked by VAR, that Rangers second goal, and the ball cannoned off Derek Cornelius to Bojan Majowski, who is offside. So it's Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 1.
They'll take their time with this corner. Declan Rice has gone off injured, looked like his right ankle to us. And Marino is floating around the edge of the penalty area. Trossard comes across to take it, and they shout Leo, and he'll take this right-footed. It's going to be a right-footed in-swinger. 4 players at the far post for Arsenal. In it comes, it's deep, it's high, hanging. Comfortably won the first ball, Arsenal there. They've got it on the corner of the penalty area. Now with Martinelli 25 yards from goal, tries to put in a cross, and Nketiah puts it behind for another corner for Arsenal. We're inside the final minute, plus added time. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, and Arsenal just trying to get themselves to see this game out. Obviously with these set pieces here, they can take the sting out of the game a little bit, which is what they've needed to. Haven't done it well enough with the ball, so with these set pieces, an opportunity to just do that. Again, always dangerous from these situations. Palace just readying a triple substitution.
11 goals from set pieces, 7 from corners now this season. Trossard right-footed again, in it comes, far post, headed away really well by Richards, and then Wharton. Arsenal do recover the ball on the halfway line with Zubamendi, who will go back to Raya. They've still got plenty forward. He'll have to get rid of this quickly, Raya, and he does. Swirling high ball, Richards wins another really good header, and now maybe Palace can break with 6 minutes of added time. The board has just gone up, and Palace are readying a triple change. Sarr on the right, he wasn't fouled. Now a low cross in towards Mateta, partially cleared away. Will Hughes comes up with the ball and dinks it back in. Comes off an Arsenal player, back in again from Palace. Now for Lacroix is going to strike one, and that was very, very wide. That is a difficult skill for anyone, let alone a centre-back, and it's a goal kick for Arsenal.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I wasn't overly confident of him doing too much with that. So tough, as you say, John. The ball's falling to him, fully 35 yards out on the volley, doesn't catch it at all. Arsenal very, very relieved to see it sail high over the crossbar.
Souza is on for Mitchell. Munoz is coming off. Uche is on as well. And I missed the other one, but I'll tell you in a minute. Triple change then for Palace. 5 minutes of added time remaining. Arsenal lead by a goal to 0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. All 4 of these 2 o'clocks live for you here on the BBC. You can follow them all. Villa against Manchester City as Gyökeres tries to go running through after a long ball from Raya and a flick, but it's snuffed out by Sarr of all people. And then making use of himself, Uche down the right hand side with some fresh legs. Mateta will chase Gabriel, and Gabriel will go all the way back to Raya, who plants a long ball forward towards Martinelli, who goes down in a heap. And they feel like they want a free kick there, and Palace have come up with the ball. Let's go to Villa, Man City. Aaron Paul.
City have had the ball in the back of the net. Marmoush at the byline pulling it back. Erling Haaland at the back post, able to divert home. The flag went up on the far side. VAR would check this. And John, as you so eloquently put earlier, he clattered his private kingdom into the post. Oh, he looks like he's struggling, Erling Haaland. No goal, offside rule against Marmoush. The initial ball from Nunes forward has seen this goal ruled out. City still trailing. Villa 1, Villa 1, Manchester City 0. Erling Haaland just walking. He's got up. He's walking back slowly towards the halfway line. That's got to hurt.
Good to hear he's okay. As Sarr is in possession, and now Hughes for Palace with 4 minutes of added time remaining. Ismaila Sarr again, 25 yards from goal, dinks it over the defender, but then can't collect, and Arsenal clear away and into touch.
Yeah, I've got to be honest, I've been so impressed with Palace's energy levels, and they've really given everything that any of those players have got this afternoon. They're still going. They've hung in there when they've needed to at the start of the second half. Just haven't been able to find that little bit of quality. But Jefferson Lerma, who was the other one of those triple substitutes, is now on with a long throw in, about to launch it in.
Lerma, who was that other sub, in it comes, long throw. It's a good one, high, headed away. Nodded back in by Palace. Away again from Trossard, and a free kick for Palace, and David Raya whirls his arms up into the air in front of the South Bank under that big clock, and it'll be a free kick for Arsenal with 3 minutes of added time remaining. Full time or half time at Rangers. Kenny Crawford.
Half-time score, Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 1. Derek Cornelius' header put the home side 1-0 up to give Danny Röhl encouragement in his first home league game in charge, but George Stanger turned in at the back post to level for Kilmarnock, and then Bojan Majowski's goal just before the break was disallowed for offside. So half-time, Rangers 1, Kilmarnock 1.
We've not had a single second half goal in the 2 o'clock kickoffs. You wouldn't odds that, would you? And we've had 4, 6, 8 goals in the first half in these 2 o'clock kickoffs. Will there be one more here at Arsenal? If you're a Palace fan, you'll be hoping that you can nick another late equaliser, as away goes Uche down the right hand side. It felt like Lewis Skelly was fouled. He's put a cross in, and Raya claims it and then falls to the ground when he doesn't need to, just to waste a few more seconds. And Mikel Arteta is waving his arms around to David Raya again, and we've got 90 seconds of added time remaining. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0 on 5 Live and BBC Sounds. Arsenal with a ball out to the right to Martinelli. What does he do? He nods it into the penalty area. Could have taken it to the corner there, Joby.
Yeah, he saw an opportunity. Actually, he's had a slightly better touch. It's a difficult one. It's bouncing around. He's got to try and head it into his path. It just skids off the turf and goes through to Dean Henderson.
Will he live to regret that, as Nketiah goes down in a heap with Timber? No free kick either way, and then Mosquera goes down, and Tom Bramall has a look at it and just says no free kick there either. It's a throw. It's into the penalty area and collected by Raya. I think it'll go down as a shot on target. That we've got a minute of added time remaining. Arsenal 1, Crystal Palace 0. Played away down the left towards Gyökeres, who looks tired, but he's got possession. edge of the penalty area, cuts in on his right foot, thinks about a shot, hasn't had a sighter all day and has got no option to the right. Palace have got it back. They've got 30 seconds to try and find an equaliser. They bring the ball forward towards halfway, and then a long ball forward looking towards Mateta. First contact won by Arsenal, and the second by Timber, who just hacks it away anywhere. Referee has a look at his watch. 10 seconds of 6 added to go. He's just held up one finger maybe to say you've got 1 minute left. Long ball forward from Palace, headed away. Back in, Mateta on the edge of the penalty area. Cleared away by Zubamendi. Mikel Arteta's tapping his watch. He's furious. He wants the full-time whistle. Dean Henderson's got it on the halfway line. Dinks the ball towards the edge of the penalty area. Arsenal win another good header. Gyökeres is strong, holds the ball up, cleared away. Referee looks at his watch again, says not yet. We've had 20 seconds over the 6. Mikel Arteta's furious. Every player apart from Henderson is in the Arsenal half. Long ball high towards the edge of the penalty area. Is that a push in the back? Referee says no. Palace have still got it. It is a push in the back. That should be it. Ball is in Arsenal possession. They've got a free kick inside their own penalty area. Whew. Wow.
Again, I've got to commend their defending. Has been absolutely magnificent. Anytime that ball's gone into the box, they're the ones, whether it's Gabriel, you've had Saliba when he was on the pitch, Nketiah's come on now and he's one getting heads to the ball. Brilliant defending. I think it's a combination, of course, of that and just at times Crystal Palace not quite finding the quality, whether it's with the cross or the final touch when they're in the box, to really make that bit of pressure that they've had at various points count today.
Raya with the free kick, edge of the D. This place will erupt when this full-time whistle goes, and there it is! And Arsenal are 4 points clear at the top of the table, with Bournemouth in second as it stands, and the gap is now 6 points to Manchester City again as it stands. And what a period, what a time in the league season this could be for Arsenal. What a day to remember. Could be pivotal. Joby McAnuff.
Yeah, fantastic 3 points, hard earned at times, little bit of frustration in the first half, but they are the types of games that Arsenal have to win if they're going to go and win this Premier League title. Too many times they haven't got over the line in these types of encounters. Fulham, a couple of games ago, they managed to find a way. Exactly the same today. Huge 3 points.
Eberechi Eze against his former club with the only goal of the game. Finished Arsenal 1, Palace 0.